you know how close we were to playing a Jake and the Fat Man rerun? All right, not very close at all. I don't even know if you could find a Jake and the Fat Man rerun. If YouTube has Jake and the Fat Man reruns, that's a problem. Wow. The Corporal's at the controls, fielding your phone calls. Corey Johnson with you. You are on the neutral ground till 6 o'clock. Boy, a nice day. Low humidity today. Get outside and enjoy this because we go into the oven next week. It's all above 90, feels like above 100. It's 86 right now, but it's only 43% humidity, which is really low for our area. Nice day. Tomorrow's supposed to be similar. Maybe some rain on Friday and Saturday. And like I said, hot next week. Hot, hot, hot. Hey, our Humane May fundraiser going on right now, and it's cold, cold, cold. We've raised about $1,500 in 15 days. We should have about 5,500 raised around right now. So we are way behind the times. Corporal, if you do not eat sunflower seeds, you should not eat sunflower seeds. That's the most pathetic sunflower seed eating thing I've ever seen there. I'm number one? Thanks. Number one in your book? Thanks. Oh, come on. You got to pack a bunch in there like chipmunk in the side. You got to go one and come on. The seeds come out easy. Boy, I wouldn't want to see you eating artichoke. It's the Corporal. He is fielding your phone calls. He did just say I'm number one, though. He raised his hand and put this number one finger up. You're number one in my book. I like that. Thanks, Corporal. He's saying it meant something totally different. That's just weird. 766-9480 is the phone number. 766-9480. He was very enthusiastic. I thought he was like saying, you're number one, buddy. It's like the big foam finger. Different finger, but same thing. You're number one, right? 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines. Yeah, our Humane May fundraiser, we are way behind pacing. Please donate, humanela.org. Humanela.org. That's the website. $5, $10. You're going to help cats and dogs, kittens and puppies. I don't know how else to say it. I know most of you are just ignoring this. You're just not going to donate. It's not what I do. I don't part with my money for those types of things. I give to fundraisers. I give to charities. Nah, you probably don't. Humanela.org. You folks that do will donate $5 or $10, $20. Save some animals. Humanela.org. Wow. Louisiana gets exactly what it deserves. Life is pretty fair. I'd say about 99% of the time. What you put in, that's what you get out. The $2.9 billion, like $3 billion with a B, the Mid-Barataria Sediment Diversion Project on the West Bank down in Plaquemine. It's on hold right now. We've already spent $420 million on the project, $420 million of the nearly $3 billion. But in typical Louisiana, Metro New Orleans fashion, this is just so typical. The needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. A few hundred very vocal oyster fishermen and fishermen that fish that area, they're complaining, and enough of their complaints are causing a stop work order on this $2.9 billion project. The Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, their new chairman, by Jeff Landry, Gordon Dove, says, we inherited the project. It's a big mess. As a former parish president, I think the parish should have a lot of say in this. Yeah, you did inherit the project. It's not a big mess. And I don't know if the parish should have a whole lot of say in such a major diversion project. Should they have some say? Of course, but not like the deciding say. It's a lot bigger than Plaquemine Parish. It's a lot bigger than the oyster fishermen, the fishermen in general down there, a few hundred of them. It's about building 20 plus square miles of land in a parish that probably has a few hundred usable square miles of land. 300-400 that are really usable, and you're going to add 20, minimum of 20. It's probably going to be a lot larger. Look at that Neptune Pass, that natural break in the river that's growing land that the Army Corps is putting rocks out and blocking it. I don't lack empathy for the oyster fishermen and the fishermen in South Louisiana. The opposite. They're part of the fabric of this state, of this community. It's how we live such a great life down here. People like me going into some lunch place, dinner place, and enjoying speckled trout and flounder and shrimp and oysters and crabs and, crawfish, on and on and on. Thank God for the oystermen and the fishermen in South Louisiana. They're great. Part of our DNA. But it's a much larger problem than Barataria Bay, some fishermen, some dolphins. It's about Louisiana and tremendous land loss. And these levees not letting the river do what it does naturally, deposit that sediment into the South Louisiana wetlands and marsh. Do we want to dredge and use massive pipes and pump sediment from the river miles away to marsh and areas that we want to replenish? You bet we do. Do we want to build barrier islands, moving huge amounts of sediment and bulldozing it all around? Yes, of course. Do we want to plant marsh grass and bring back swamp, marsh, wetlands? Of course. Cypress trees, the whole 9 yards, all of it. We want to use every single tool in the tool belt, every one. And diversions are one of those tools. And to be so short-sighted where we're looking in today's, mirror only, hey, this is going to affect my oyster fishing. This is going to affect my fishing today. It is. And those few hundred fishermen need to be financially compensated. They need this $2.9 billion project needs to be 3-point-something billion. And these fishermen need to be compensated for their loss of livelihood, change in livelihood. They've put in so much time, so much investment, and just gets chopped. No, they'll have their money and they can sell off their business, or they can go fish and do oysters somewhere else. It's about extending the coastline. It's about extending the marsh. It's about stopping land loss, at least trying to slow down the land loss. And we need to use every single method possible, including diversions. So to have a handful of oystermen and fishermen in Plaquemine, a few hundred, that should be compensated for their loss, to have them stop a $3 billion project is insane. But it's typical Louisiana. And the guy who is supposedly heading up coastal protection and restoration for Governor Landry, we inherited this project. It's a big mess. What does Gordon Dove mean? It's a big mess. And then saying the parish should have the say. As a former parish president, the parish should have the say. Just insane. This is so much bigger than Plaquemine, Metro New Orleans. This is a United States of America problem. America's wetland loss. This is going to be one of the many things that helps rebuild the coast. Now, here's the biggest joke of all of this. The folks in Plaquemine, the oystermen and the fishermen, bless their heart, these officials from Plaquemine are going to come up with their own plan on how to rebuild the marsh and wetland. We know about dredging and putting a big pipe, and we know what that'll do. We're doing it right now. And diversions, guys. Get compensated And let's save Louisiana so your kids and your kids' kids can fish for oysters and speckled trout and redfish and the like. Corey Johnson with you. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Woodhouse Day Spa with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NolaAC.com is your cool spot.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson with you on a wide open Wednesday. Thanks so much for joining us. The Rouse's Markets phone lines are open, 766-9480, 766-9480. 40 years ago this week, the 1984 World's Fair opened. Horrible planning, horrible promotion. You got to promote these World Fairs like years out is the thinking, because families are planning vacations at least a year out. And the promotion, I think that was the biggest flaw. The marketing and promotion of the New Orleans World Fair was very late, maybe 5 to 6 months out instead of a year and a half out. So families planning vacation, we missed the boat on that. The World's Fair attendance numbers were very low. The fair went bankrupt. It went the course. It did the 6 months or however long it was. Let me see. I think it was like May through September or something like that, which is another, like summertime in New Orleans. Let's see. Wow, they're saying like over 7 million visitors. That's pretty impressive. Opened May 12th and ended November 11th. Wow. Straight through the summer, only a few good months of good weather, 4 months of bad and 2 of decent. Anyway, 40 years ago today, or 40 years ago this week, the World's Fair opened in New Orleans. I was a high school kid, and lots of my friends worked down there. You had the beer garden. You had the amphitheater with concerts, great concerts all the time. There are some things left over from the World's Fair. I got 50 big bucks to the Woodhouse, 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. There are 2 major things. I mean, you can really say 3 major things. But 2 physical buildings, 2 physical structures that are now something else that were part of the World's Fair. Give me the answer. Just give me one thing that still exists from the World's Fair, one structure or entity that still exists 40 years later from the 1984 World's Fair here in New Orleans. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. If you have an answer, I got 50 big bucks for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. Hey, the 4 o'clock hour this afternoon brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant. A culture of innovation at Latrim, and they're looking for you. They're hiring. For a full listing of positions available, go to latrim.com. Dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of job openings. In Elmwood, under the UEP Long Bridge, on I-12, on the North Shore. Yeah, Latrim's on the North Shore and South Shore for you. For a full listing of positions available, latrim.com. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M, latrim.com. Every Friday, Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans, Inc. joins us with economic news. It's always brought to you by Latrim. Speaking of Michael Hecht, wow, what have we been talking about lately? What I posted this, thousands of folks checking it out on my Twitter. And I don't have a huge Twitter following compared to Fletcher Mackle and some of these sports folks that have tens of thousands of followers. Now I'm like, 9 months from Sunday, it was like posted this Monday, from Sunday last Sunday, 9 months till Super Bowl 59, 39 weeks till Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans, and we've done absolutely nothing as a city. No preparation, no point person, no board, no checklist, nothing. That was Monday. It's Wednesday. Governor Jeff Landry names Greater New Orleans, Inc. President Michael Hecht to head up efforts to prepare for Super Bowl 59. Exactly what I was talking about. They'll have a, quote, punch list. What did I call it? Like a, check-off list, whatever. A list of priorities, projects and priorities, things you need to do, take care of. In about 3 weeks, early June, the governor is going to hold a press conference with Michael Hecht and talk about preparing for Super Bowl 59. So thank God, man. I mean, the mayor's in Qatar and Governor Jeff Landry is pretty extreme and kind of loco a little bit. Not all 8 cylinders are running at peak efficiency with our governor. And it's not like because he's old or anything, he's young. He's just a little loco a little bit, a little cuckoo. Coupled with a little shady and deviant, just can't help himself. He's picking up the ball and running with it. He realizes there's a Super Bowl. Our dopey governor realizes there's a Super Bowl and is putting Michael Hecht in charge of a task force to get the city prepared. Because the mayor certainly isn't thinking about the Super Bowl. Just embarrassing, man. No, that's why when folks are like, Corey, you're critical of Jeff Landry. You say he's extreme. You say he's evangelical. You say he's wacky right. I do. But my God, New Orleans and Louisiana are so broken, going in the wrong direction year after year, decade after decade. Any kind of change, putting 2 bowls of food out and letting my dog Tolly run to one and going in that direction would be an improvement, about a 50% chance of improvement. Doing the same thing, guaranteed failure. So Jeff Landry and his agenda, which I think is an agenda. Some of it's going to stick and work and benefit the city and state. I think a lot of it's not. Some of it's going to do the opposite. Run conventions and tourists and Final Fours and stuff like that away. Some dopey, meaningless law that's just prejudice, racist, sexist, homophobic, something that's inevitable. But so far, he's the only voice. He's the only one stepping up that seems New Orleans, if you think it's genuine or not, if he has an agenda or not. Super Bowl's coming in less. Let's focus on this Super Bowl. Like, don't have time to deal with LaToya Cantrell, the mayor, the council that allows the mayor to go on these junkets. The city council full of woke liberal Democrats allowing this mayor to go on these junkets. And it'll continue. No, I don't want to go thank God for Jeff Landry, because I think Jeff Landry is a little bit of a deviant and is a little crazy. But he's the only one stepping up. Got to give credit where credit's due. He's acknowledging, hey, in 9 months, there's a Super Bowl. We better get New Orleans prepared. These other cities, they're new. They're clean. They're shiny. They need 9 weeks to get ready. We should already be on fixing up New Orleans. I mean, there's so much gravy and lanyap involved. Things that have been, broken, look like crap, beat up, blighted, that need to be replaced, repaired, fixed, whatever. They're going to get attention for the first time in years, decades. New Orleans should be fired up. You got the state behind it. There's a Super Bowl. There's hundreds of millions of dollars in economic impact. There's going to be money available. It's a great opportunity. Mayor, not a word. City council, not a word. Governor Landry, hey, let's do some stuff. Let's clean up. Let's get going. Thank goodness someone's doing it. We will visit, like we do every Friday with Michael Hecht, and find out what this task force is all about for the Super Bowl, the punch list. I was talking about this yesterday and the day before. So many things to do. Get outside people to land at Louis Armstrong International, drive to their hotel, observe what's going on. What looks good, put a spotlight on that. What looks bad, hide it. Plant trees, paint stuff, replace fencing on the interstate, power wash this, power wash that, fix key streets, stripe streets. If they're fixed or not, put some stripes down. Where's the street striping man in New Orleans? He's MIA. No, so many broken things. The list could go a few hundred deep. We can attack them with a sense of urgency. I remember when the Pope came, boy, planting magnolia trees on Carrollton Avenue because the Pope was going to the Notre Dame Seminary, and out by UNO, the Superdome, anywhere he was going to be, they cleaned up, fixed up that area big time, like you noticed it. Corey Johnson with you on a wide open Wednesday edition of the program. 40 years ago this week, the World's Fair opened in New Orleans. What are some of the benefits from the World's Fair to this day? One is kind of an area, and two are physical buildings, like entities that are key today in New Orleans. You got the answer? I got 50 big bucks for you at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. The Corporal fielding your phone calls at 766-9480. 766-9480. Our Humane May fundraiser continues. We are way behind. We got to raise $8,500 in the next 2 weeks. Please donate right now. HumaneLA.org. HumaneLA.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Leidenheimer Baking Company, producers of that Leidenheimer French bread you love, that you grew up with. There is not a single New Orleanian alive that didn't have Leidenheimer French bread, always available their entire life, always there. And it was there years before they were here, decades before they were here. My mom's 93. She was born in 1930. 1930. Leidenheimer was at it for 34, 35 years the day my mom was born. They were at it for a couple of generations, for over 3 decades when my 93-year-old mother was born in New Orleans. When Leidenheimer was baking French bread in the late 1800s, Oklahoma wasn't even a state. There were like 44, 45 states when Leidenheimer started baking their French bread in New Orleans. Good to the last crumb at your favorite grocery store, at your favorite restaurant, at your favorite po' boy shop. The French bread of New Orleans, Leidenheimer French bread, Leidenheimer Baking Company. Boy, nice day, low humidity, 86, 43% humidity, making it very nice. It's not like that brutal summertime heat. Tomorrow is supposed to be a replay. Maybe some rain Friday and Saturday. Next week, real summer heat, 90 plus all week long. Feels like 100 plus all week long. Humane May fundraiser. Please donate right now, humanela.org. Trying to raise $10,000 in the month of May for cats and dogs, kittens and puppies. HumaneLA.org is where you donate. Yeah, I said earlier, Louisiana getting exactly what we deserve. It's unbelievable. The needs of the few always outweighing the needs of the many. We're just a belligerent, broken, uneducated, short-sighted state. It's embarrassing, and it will continue, because there's no incentive to change it. People around Louisiana and New Orleans are scared of change. We've been burned too many times when you talked about change. We'd rather just lose. We know we're losing. We know what to do. And we know what the high and low of it all is. So we'd rather just lose. No, these oyster fishermen and fishermen down in Plaquemine Parish, primarily, Barataria Bay, a few hundred of them, that are honorable people that work hard, that need to be compensated financially. They basically stopped a nearly $3 billion, the most ambitious land restoration project in Louisiana's history. This nearly $3 billion Mid-Barataria sediment diversion project, which we've already spent over $400 million. Landry's head of the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, like the chief guy in the state, the chairman of the CPRA, Gordon Dove. We inherited this project. It's a big mess. No, Gordon Dove, you're a big mess. Just absolutely pathetic. As a former parish president, the parish should have a lot of say in this. Not really. They should have some say, but not a lot. It's much bigger than Plaquemine, Metro New Orleans. It's bigger than the state of Louisiana. It's America's wetland that's disappearing. Just happens to be in Louisiana. The whole country is behind this. We're using lots of money from the BP oil disaster, billions of dollars, and we're using every tool in the tool belt. Barrier Island restoration, replanting marsh, swamp grass, cypress trees, huge pipes, dredging material and pushing it through pipes for miles and spreading that sediment all over marsh and wetlands area, growing land that way. And yeah, diversion projects too. Just this anti-diversion project and the short-sightedness of it. You're going to mess up my oyster beds and you're going to wreck the fishing. You're going to make Barataria Bay go from brackish or salt towards the Gulf to fresh. And then I love this. These few hundred dolphin, which believe me, I'm concerned about the dolphin. A lot of these oystermen and fishermen could care less about the dolphin kill. But they know that's a good little, you get the liberals, you get the people concerned about wildlife on our side. Don't want to see the dolphins killed. If it was the opposite, like dolphins are killed and you get to keep fishing, oysters and fishing in general, they'd be like, we're going to kill some dolphins. I'm not against the oystermen or the fishermen. I understand they're focused on their livelihood. This is going to affect it. It is. That's why you deserve to be financially compensated. I'm not against you. I'm against how you think on this because it's short-sighted. And you fishermen and oystermen, you know it better than anyone. You see the land disappearing in front of your eyes where your dad and grandparents used to walk. It's open water now. But you're thinking about your oyster bed and your fishing today where you do it what you're used to. What about your kids and your kids' kids? And then the excuses of there's another way. This is laughable and embarrassing. We have a $3 billion mid-Barataria sediment diversion project that's been studied by scientists, fishermen, all kind of experts. This is the consensus project. Now we're going to have some Plaquemine Parish officials and some oystermen and fishermen coming up with their B plan on how we can do similar things with a different method. And it's going to be about piping sediment, dredging and piping sediment, which I'm all for. But I'm also for diversions, every tool in the tool belt. No, it's embarrassing. You have this $3 billion plan that's got so many experts involved, like I said, a consensus. And we have the Plaquemine Parish people and some oystermen and fishermen come up with the B plan. It's laughable. It's a joke. But what's not a joke is this $3 billion project's on hold right now. What's not a joke is the CPRA chairman under Jeff Landry, Gordon Dove, has no idea what he's talking about. We inherited this project like it's some negative and it really needs to be scrutinized and reviewed. It's been scrutinized and reviewed for years. It's a big mess, according to Gordon Dove. No, it's not a big mess at all. There's a few hundred oystermen and fishermen that are against it, and they're gaining traction to stop it. The needs of the few outweighing the needs of the many. It's typical short-sighted Louisiana. It's like the Menhaden thing. Unlike Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, East Coast states, they have regulations. Some ban it all together. No Menhaden fishing. In Louisiana, we whore it out. We just do whatever you want. If you're killing redfish and pelicans and dolphins, who cares? It's two companies. I think one's out of South Africa, one's like Scandinavian, maybe out of Denmark. So they're foreign companies. Altogether, they employ directly about 400 people. And we are bending over backwards to keep that industry going the way they want it to go, letting the inmates run the asylum, not putting the proper regulations like our neighboring states do. Because we're Louisiana, and the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. And it's not even the 400 direct jobs. It's the politicians getting money from the South African and Denmark, pogey fishing companies. That's it. No, we are short-sighted. We don't care about the state, the environment, the citizens, the majority, the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. And it's the opposite in reality. Everybody else goes by the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So we have a few hundred jobs in the Menhaden industry that's allowing that fishery just to go unchecked, essentially. Inmates running the asylum. Don't know how it's affecting other fish that live off the menhaden. So many other creatures eat menhaden that are in the Gulf that we eat. And now this mid-Barataria sediment diversion. It's embarrassing. It's a joke. It really is. It's what losers do, not what winners do. What losers do. We like to lose. Losing's easy. Winning's tough. Going out every day and taking risks and going for it and working hard and making money, that's hard. Being a loser, that's easy. Throwing in the towel, quitting, that wasn't for me, whatever. That's easy. No, and in Louisiana, it's true. It's just a larger than normal percentage of the population that's sort of like a loser, like a second-rate person. At LSU Law School, they say, look to your left, look to your right. Next semester, next year, that person won't be next to you. Like a third of the students leave. That's Louisiana. Look to your left, look to your right. That's a second-rate person. Someone who's like a loser, not a winner. Someone who's negative, not positive. Someone that can't do it instead of can do. It's tough, man. For normal people like us, most of you and me, living in New Orleans, extreme, woke, loony, liberal, hyper-democratic, not a Republican conservative thought or person in sight, hyper-extreme, that's tough. Leave New Orleans and rest of the state, evangelical, hyper-right, wacky right, extreme, that's tough. And it obviously doesn't work. There's one thing these ideologies have in common that are opposite. They're extreme. And Louisiana continues to fail, and New Orleans continues to fail. Same theme, extreme.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans. Precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you. It's time to relax. Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville, the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
Good old meters from the late 60s. Late 60s, this. Looky pie. The original meters. Sorry, Cyril. Cyril's part of the funky meters, but the original meters was what? Leo Nocentelli on guitar, Zigaboo Modalesti on drums, George Porter on bass, and Art Neville on that Hammond organ. Wow. Those are great CDs. The couple of great album CDs, whatever you call that stuff from the olden days. I recommend those 2 from the late 60s, the meters. Good stuff. It's great stuff to listen to, and it's good stuff just to hear, to like have in the background. It serves all, listening and hearing categories, I guess. Hey, Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner, the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner. Ronnie's got you covered from the lake to the river. From the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner to now Lamarck Crescent City Ford, the legendary Ford truck dealership on Jefferson Highway under the Lamarck umbrella. Servicing, taking care of your Ford, Lincoln vehicle by the river or by the lake, literally bridging the gap. The Lamarck Automotive Complex, home of Lamarck Ford, the big store for over 45 years, #1 Ford dealership in the region. And Lamarck Crescent City Ford, the legendary truck, van, commercial vehicle outlet for New Orleans on Jefferson Highway for over 80 years. Every day, this program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner, and now Lamarck Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway. Hey, the 1984 World's Fair opened up 40 years ago this week. What are at least 2 buildings, 2 entities from that World's Fair that still exist to this day, repurposed into something very beneficial for the city? One is publicly owned. One is privately owned. Both part of the original World's Fair from 40 years ago. And then there's something that's not like a single building or entity, but it's an area that's a leftover from the 1984 World's Fair that opened 40 years ago this week when I was just a tot in my teens, high school. We enjoyed going down to the World's Fair, but it was not a success financially. Poor marketing was the culprit. You know, families, especially back then, there's no internet, there's no cell phones, there's none of that. It's 40 years ago, early 80s. You need television advertising, magazine advertising, newspaper advertising, maybe even billboards in key cities, like a year, 15 months out, because families are planning their yearly vacation. Hey, this year we're going to Disney World. This year we're going to go to the beach. This year we're going to go to the mountains. They're planning out. It's not a month out. So that was the biggest problem. Supposedly, and as I remember this, it was true, maybe 6 months out, they started running regional and national television commercials 6 months out. Like the majority of families in America seeing that are like, we've already made our plans. We're going to Disney World. We've already got our vacation plans set. So that's what killed the World's Fair, hurt it, bankrupted it. But it went for the 6 months from April to November 1984. There are two entities, two buildings, pretty big buildings. One's public, one's private, benefiting the city. Name either one of those and get a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate. There's also an area that really didn't exist that does now. Leftovers from the World's Fair. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. You got answers? I got 50 big bucks for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. In Baton Rouge, 2 on the North Shore, 2 on the South Shore. WoodhouseSpas.com. Again, that phone number, 766-9480. Saints schedule released. Opening up September 8th at the Dome against Carolina, a little divisional game. Got the Chiefs and Mahomes. Sean Payton and the Broncos coming to the Dome for Thursday night football. The Sean Payton homecoming. Wow. Jaden Daniels and DC coming to the Dome. Some of the highlights. Now the lowlights. The nearly $3 billion mid-Barataria sediment diversion project is on hold. Governor Jeff Landry and his people seem to have no enthusiasm to get it restarted. His Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority chairman called it a big mess. I've never heard anyone call it a big mess except the oystermen and the fishermen that are opposed to it. A few hundred of them. Compensate them financially, not to go around their lawsuit, because they deserve it. You are affecting their livelihood with the diversion. It's going to become a freshwater Barataria Bay, not brackish or any salt. Dolphins are going to fade out of there. It's going to change the ecology, the fishing. So they do deserve compensation. How that wasn't thought of is mind-blowing. But their lawsuit and this stop order needs to go away. This $3 billion diversion, just another tool in the tool belt that we need to use with all the other ones to rebuild Louisiana's coast, disappearing coastline. What's that, Blue Boy? Tell folks to stick around. The 5 o'clock powwow is next. Blue Boy, I could not do the show without you. Thank you.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became number one for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
This is Jim Rockford. At the tone, leave your name and message. I'll get back to you.
It's Shirley at the cleaners. You know that brown jacket? The one I said looked so great on you? Your favorite? We lost it.
If Jim Rockford would have gone to Young's Dry Cleaning, that wouldn't have been a problem. Hey, Jim, try Young's Dry Cleaning. They've been in New Orleans since 1940, literally a New Orleans institution. You want to experience the best dry cleaner? Young'sDryCleaning.com. Yeah, you right. It is indeed New Orleans, Louisiana. Corey Johnson with you. You're on the neutral ground. A wide open Wednesday edition of the neutral ground. 5 o'clock power hour, taking you home in style. Thanks so much for joining us. Rouse's Markets phone lines are open. 766-9480. 766-9480. Love to hear from you. Got a few $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates available. I'll fill you in on those questions in a second. Hey, our Humane May fundraiser's going on right now. We're halfway through the month, and we've raised a paltry $1,500. We have 2 weeks. We're 2 weeks in. We got 2 weeks to go, and we have $8,500 to raise. Please donate right now. Let's save some cats and dogs and kittens and puppies. Go out of your comfort zone. Donate to a charity for once in your life. Pull out the credit card and pop for 10 or 20 bucks. You're going to save some cats and dogs, kittens and puppies. Literally. We get off easy. Jeff Dorson and his crew, they have to do the dirty work, the heavy lifting. We get to pull out a credit card and put 50 bucks on it and whew, okay, I'm good. I've done my part. That's all I'm asking. HumaneLA.org. Please donate. HumaneLA.org. Nice day. Low humidity. Get outside and enjoy it. I can't wait to go walk Tolly this afternoon. It might be 86 degrees, but it's like 40% humidity. And when the sun goes down and the breeze blowing, because tomorrow's supposed to be a rinse and repeat of today, tonight's going to be nice. I might have to drop some coals and do some grilling, head over to Rouse's and pick up some goodies. Rain maybe on Friday and Saturday. Next week, it's entering the oven. 90 plus degrees every day next week. Feels like 100, I'm sure, most of those days. Summer arrives next week big time. We've already gotten a little taste of it. We're going to get crushed next week with it. Reality sets in. Our next break, October. Wow, Louisiana getting exactly what it deserves. This nearly $3 billion with a B, $2.9 billion mid-Barataria sediment diversion project, where we've already invested, the state of Louisiana, $420 million into it. It's right now on an indefinite hold because some oyster fishermen, some Plaquemine Parish officials have stopped this project. And then Jeff Landry, the governor of the state of Louisiana, who's supposed to be about the state of Louisiana. We have a major coastal erosion problem. What does Jeff Landry do a few weeks into office? He goes to the Texas border. Do you think Texas is going to send anybody, their National Guard, down to our coast to move boulders on Grand Isle to shore up the coastline? Never. And here's the worst part. Texas is a rich state. They're a rich state. People are moving there. They have booming metropolises. They have huge, huge economy. And we're poor. We're Louisiana. We're poor. We're going to go help the rich state? It makes no sense at all. It is the worst type of politics possible. And then the big concern, our coastal erosion problem. I don't know. Jeff Landry maybe doesn't believe in it. I don't know. This new CPRA chairman, the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority chairman, Gordon Dove, obviously knows very little about it. He talks about the Mid-Barataria diversion project. We inherited this project like it's a negative, and he says it's a negative. Quote, it's a big mess. The only folks that think it's a big mess are a few hundred people, some oystermen, some fishermen, and some Plaquemine Parish officials. That's it. Everyone else consensus for this project. The amount of time, effort, study, scientists, fishermen, experts, a consensus. Let's build this Mid-Barataria diversion project. Nearly $3 billion. Here's the kicker. Besides a few hundred fishermen and oystermen and some Plaquemine Parish folks stopping it, they're going to even one-up that. Hey, we got a plan. We'll tell you our plan to rebuild the marsh. Yeah, that's who I want to listen to. Some Plaquemine Parish politicians and some oystermen and fishermen for the entire B plan of let's not do the $2.9 billion Mid-Barataria diversion, which has been studied, scientists, fishermen for years, a consensus on what to do. Yeah, I'm going to listen to some oystermen and fishermen and some Plaquemine Parish officials. Just embarrassing. It's pathetic. Like children. Now, let me stress this. I very much respect the oystermen and fishermen of South Louisiana, including the ones that are pushing this lawsuit. You people deserve to be compensated for this diversion that affects your livelihood, your oyster fishing and your fishing, what you're used to, what fish are in the areas that you fish. You deserve to be financially compensated. That should have been day one, and then there'd be no lawsuit. There'd be no, because that's all this is. This is short-sighted oystermen and fishermen thinking about today and their livelihood today. And what's ironic, their fathers, their grandfathers, since they were kids, they've seen the land up close, much more so than a city boy like me disappearing into the Gulf. Yet they lack empathy where, man, it's my livelihood. I'm an oyster fisherman. I'm a fisherman. This is going to wreck my life. I'm against it, period of story. What about growing the wetlands, growing the coastline of Louisiana? All it's going to do is push the coast further out, bring fresh water, and then you're going to have salt and brackish farther out than it is today. It's going to change the ecology, no doubt, but it's just going to move it to a different place. And I'm all for huge pipes, dredging sediment material, piping it for miles to areas that are thirsty for it. I'm all for that. Dredging and moving sediment through pipes. I'm all for rebuilding barrier islands. I'm all for replanting marsh, grass, cypress trees, all of it. And I'm into diversions too. Every tool in the tool belt we need to use. And we can't have that Louisiana mentality, the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. These oyster fishermen and fishermen that have basically stopped this, some parish officials in Plaquemine Parish, the fishermen and the oystermen should be compensated. But this project needs to go. And the sad part is Jeff Landry, being his typical political self, all about politics, election, appeasing the base, that kind of stuff, placating, not leading and doing what's right. His Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority chairman, Gordon Dove, he's a former parish president, apparently. As a former parish president, the parish should have a lot more say in this. Not really. They should have some say, but it's much bigger than Plaquemine, New Orleans, even Louisiana. It's America's wetland. Landry's people, it's a big mess. No, it's not. It's not. It's unbelievable, the short-sightedness in Louisiana. People that are selfish, worried about just themselves, and just short-sighted, not thinking about next week, next month, next year, next decade, next 50 years. And it's ironical, these oystermen and fishermen, they know it better than anyone. They're screwing over their own kids and their kids' kids and their kids' kids. But they'll say, no, I'm not. We have a different way to do that. I mean, NASA's launching a rocket, but we're going to let the oyster fishermen and the Plaquemine Parish politicians come up with another way to launch the rocket. It's a joke, but it's typical Louisiana. 766-9480 is the phone number. 766-9480. Hey, Dave, I got to knock a super quick break, the 16 after break. I'm coming to you on the other side of that break. And you too. We don't screen calls. If you disagree with me, you're like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I am an oysterman. I am a fisherman. I take offense to this. Call. Straighten me out. 766-9480. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines. Yeah, we're coming back to Dave and you. Corey Johnson with you on a wide open Wednesday, 5 o'clock power hour. Humane May fundraiser going on. Please donate right now. HumaneLA.org. HumaneLA.org.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson with you. Rouse's Markets phone lines to participate in the show. 766-9480. We head to the Causeway Bridge. Dave joins us. What you say, Dave?
Corey, I want to tell you how much you hit the nail on the head.
On what?
Fishermen,
on what specific point?
They're selfish. They're selfish. And let me tell you about the mid-Barataria thing. You're exactly right. They pulled the same stunt way back in the last century when they were building the Carnarvon diversion. Same kind of scenario. Build a diversion, restore the wetlands around Hopedale and St. Bernard, rebuild the delta, how it naturally happened, on and on and on. All the stuff we know that's ecologically sound. But the oyster fishermen took them to court. And guess what? They had to modify the diversion so that it had a sediment trap. So now instead of it building out and recreating the wetlands, how has geologically happened over millennia, all they're getting is just fresh water. It ain't creating nothing. And if it is, it's barely a minimum. They're pulling the same playbook now. They're selfish. They don't, we got our oysters. Yeah, we got oysters, but you know what? The speckled trout fishery's collapsing. The redfish fishery's collapsing. The shrimp fishery's collapsing. But hey, we still got oysters. And the oysters have the politicians bent over a barrel. Nungasser should be ashamed of himself. The parish is washing away to nothing. And instead of letting it happen geologically, how the whole South Louisiana was built, they're crying because they're going to lose their oysters. Well, they're fixing to lose their homes. It's a shame. You nailed it on the head. They ought to blow the levees and let the river run free. That's why they're having a headache over the Mardi Gras Pass. That's the only thing keeping that side of the world alive. There ain't no ducks on the West Bank of the Mississippi River. Guess what? They don't give a care. We still have our oysters. The redfish are going away because they're being fished out. Well, we don't care. Well, now it's down to 3 fish. We don't care. We still have oysters. You name it, buddy. You nailed it. Appreciate you for pointing it out.
And Dave, with these new modern, oyster cages that you're suspending in the water, you can go where the salinity's perfect and make great oysters.
Oh, exactly. And look, down there by Empire, you know as well as I do, back in the 80s and the 70s, that was all marsh, right? Open water didn't exist until you reached the seashore. Well, all that got washed away and turned into open water. You know what happened? The state made it bottoms, and they leased it out to guess who? The oyster fishermen. Now the oyster fishermen are leasing the open water. But oh my gosh, don't let the Empire locks open up and reflood the area with sediment and fresher water to recreate the land, because it's going to smother all our oysters. I don't know what the oyster fishery has over our politicians, but I tell you what, it's got to be a lot of money, because they all should be ashamed of themselves for letting our world disappear. Got it nailed on the head, bud.
It's very similar, Dave, to that Menhaden thing. We just
same thing.
We whore out that industry. There's like 400 jobs, and it's a couple of foreign companies. I think South African and one from Denmark, and all these other states have rules and regulations with Menhaden, and we don't care. And then dolphins get killed in these nets, pelicans get killed in these nets, redfish, all kind of byproduct, bycatch. And
well, that's why they got ran out of the Chesapeake for the same thing, because they're the beginning of the food chain, and the nets are indiscriminate.
Yep.
So they're eating, they're catching all the bull reds, all that, but nobody hears about that. But boo-hoo, they killed the dolphins, and everybody's up in arms about, we got to cancel it. It's the same thing like, oh my goodness, they're killing the panda bear. It's whatever little symbol that makes the song sing.
That's the ironic part. These oystermen and fishermen with the mid-Barataria sediment diversion are bringing up the dolphins, like they know that it's going to pull on the heartstrings of liberals, of people that are conservationists that care about the animals. Yet the menhaden industry, they're killing dolphins with those big old nets all the time, and no one's complaining or caring about that. I know they're two different topics, but the point is, it's the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many, and how we whore out ourselves for the menhaden industry, how we
kids in the 70s, and you'd go right there off the docks. You were catching freshwater catfish and largemouth bass. If you wanted to see a dolphin or catch a speckled trout, you'd have to take your boat through the marsh and go almost all the way to Grand Isle before you found saltier water to catch those animals. Now they got dolphins right there behind the pump stations in Port Sulphur.
Yep.
That ought to explain everything.
Exactly.
But no.
You don't want them there. It's not good that they're there. It's not good that that's brackish or salt and not fresh. What you said, you're recreating. And all you're doing, Dave, you're pushing it farther out. Like the oysters will still be able to be fished, and fisheries will, the brackish and salt. It's just going to be farther south. Going to have more fresh, more marsh, more cypress trees, more marsh grass, more wetlands. It's crazy.
It gives the oyster fishermen something to cry about. Because now they got to take their boat and spend, we got to go lug our oysters. We got to go 5 miles to find the saltwater line where oysters will grow. Well, now it's just, you can go 1/10 of a mile from the Empire Bridge and get your daggone oysters. But that wasn't how the world existed in the 1970s.
That's right.
It wasn't how it existed in the 50s. And they're all crying about there's no ducks on the West Bank because there's no habitat. But yet the ecological processes that are keeping Paso Lucha Wildlife Management Area and the Delta Refuge and the east bank of the river growing and being a mecca for duck hunting, those ecological processes that are drawing the duck hunters, they're wanting to stop right now because of the oyster fishermen. Imagine how many ducks would be on the west bank of the Mississippi River if they let the Barataria diversion just blow and create all the groceries for the waterfowl. It's disgusting, man. And you know what? It's a shame that we had to see it disappear in our lifetime when this could have been done 30 years ago. It's the oyster fishermen got the politicians over a barrel. It's a daggone shame.
And then you toss in the Army Corps, Dave. What with that Neptune Pass? They're like closing that off.
The Mardi Gras Pass, yeah. You're closing that off. That's the stupidest thing. That's what's built in the east bank of the river. Yeah. And our radio show people on another AM channel, they let them go on and on about how the diversions are bad. You know what? They're over a barrel too. It's follow the money. Don't want to lose the sponsors. Don't want to lose the politicians. None Gusler should be ashamed of himself. He was so proud to protect Clackamas Parish when there was an oil spill. But here comes a project that'll create jobs and a habitat for centuries to come, and he's against it. Shame on him.
Now, and the difference is, I'm for all the projects they talk about. Barrier Island, dredging and piping it to areas that need it, planting marsh grass and cypress trees, but diversions too. You got to use every tool available. It's mind blowing. And you went, to that. It's an arguable point. You need to blow up the levees at one point and let the river just flow like it naturally should. Like, that's an arguable point almost. And these diversions are just little punches in the levee in certain little spots. So it's nowhere near what you're talking about. And I know you're saying it's sort of realistically, sort of in jest, but it's true. You could blow up some levees down in South Louisiana and just let that sediment flow.
Yep. That's exactly it's how South Louisiana was created in the first place. So you're arguing against the thing that put the land under your feet. That's how short-sighted they are. Rome's burning and they're fiddling, and it's a shame that we had to lose it within our generation.
How are you so knowledgeable on all this, Dave?
Dude, grew up hunting and fishing in Clackamas Parish.
Wow.
Saw the land disappeared in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
Same as you.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, I watched the land disappear from the Port Sulphur mining, from Freeport McMoran. Watched land disappear, football fields of the day. As soon as they put the void in the ground from the sulfur, gone, just like the sinkholes there on Jefferson Island. Same geologic process, man.
Wow.
Yep. The oyster fishermen are selfish, and the politicians are bent over a barrel for them. I don't know what kind of money they got or kind of stroke, but they got a lot, and they're selling us out big time. They're selling their generations away for right now, so they can go 1 mile and go get their oysters. It's disgusting. It's sad. But hey, we're Louisiana. Let's go have a parade. Peace out, brother.
Dave, thank you, man. That's Dave on the Causeway. Great stuff. You want to participate? We don't screen calls. We take all comers. Agree with Dave, disagree, agree with me, disagree. We take all comers. We don't cut you off if we disagree. And like I said, we don't screen calls. We're not like down the dial or around the country. I never understood that when I got in talk radio. I'm like, I'm throwing out topics. Could somebody call and be like, hey, I want to talk about the Kennedy assassination and the grassy knoll? I'm sure I'll be able to deal with it. Most folks are going to call about the topics we're throwing out there, like Dave on the Causeway, 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. Love to hear from you. Like to hear from the other side. Wow. What have we been talking about the last few days? Monday, Tuesday. I was like, Sunday is, 39 weeks till Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. 9 months away and the city's done nothing. And then I'm like, LaToya Cantrell's in Qatar. We've got a major Super Bowl. And unlike a Nashville or, some new city that's new and shiny and bright, it's a quick 6-week cleanup, Hey, Super Bowl's coming next month. Let's get ready. New Orleans is an old, beat-up, blighted, crusty city. Infrastructure problems, weeds, graffiti, litter, rust, blight. I mean, a lot of things need to be fixed, cleaned up, taken care of. Probably a checklist of a few hundred items. So that's what I was talking about yesterday and Monday. Today, Governor Jeff Landry names Greater New Orleans Inc. President Michael Hecht to head up an effort to prepare for Super Bowl 59. In about 3 weeks, early June, they'll have a press conference to make it official. We'll have Michael on Friday, like we usually do, that Greater New Orleans Inc. segment, and ask him about it. And I was talking about a checklist. In the article, they have, quote, punch list. Same stuff. No, it was pretty obvious. I did a countdown on Sunday. I'm like, man, the Super Bowl's got to be like 9 months away. What are we doing? I was like, that's a good Monday topic because we're not doing anything. Well, now we're doing something. Not the mayor. Mayor's in Qatar, goofing off. Governor Jeff Landry, like him or not, this is his deal, bringing in Michael Hecht to do this. It's Jeff Landry, who I'm no fan of, but he's the one that's concerned about New Orleans more than this mayor. His goofy junket is to like the Texas border right next door for some political nonsense. He ain't in Dubai. So, no, I'm no fan of Jeff Landry. I think he's a little crazy. I think he's a deviant. I'm hoping he ends up being a decent governor. I'm very skeptical. I'm not optimistic. But New Orleans and Louisiana are so broken. Continuing down the path we are on is guaranteed failure. So even someone who's a little loco and deviant and may not have the state's best interest, maybe a little self-centered in his interests, he's changing things. And some of them are going to stick and be beneficial and be better by default, by accident. Some aren't going to be, and they'll have to be changed or ignored. But Jeff Landry is the only one mentioning New Orleans, its problems. It should be like Nashville or Austin, efficient. Should be the jewel of the South. Got to knock out the crime. And now he's saying, hey, we got to prepare for the Super Bowl. So I got to give a guy that I don't have a lot of respect for or care too much for, Jeff Landry, some credit. and be critical of the mayor who's in Qatar, not even worrying about that. Good for Jeff Landry and a good call. Michael Hecht's a good person to run that task force. Dave on the Causeway had a great call, great comments. If you're beelining across the Causeway, why don't you fire in a big to-go order at Trey Inn? Curbside delivery. I was there earlier in the week. I was taking advantage of those lunch specials. 10, 11, 12 bucks for gourmet Chinese cuisine at lunch. About 20 different lunch specials. You're an office manager in Mandeville, Covington. You got to feed 10, 20, 50, 100 employees. Trey Yen will take care of you with those great lunch specials. Tonight for dinner, I recommend the local, fresh, whole speckled trout or flounder. Deboned, flash fried to perfection. And then the Wong brothers put ladles and ladles of their signature tung cho sauce, sweet and spicy, all over that wonderful speckled trout or flounder. Both fillets, fantastic. Trey Yen and Mandeville, so good. Corey Johnson with you. Hey, I got $50 to the Woodhouse for you. 1984 World's Fair opened 40 years ago this week. 6 months. There are two major buildings. One's public, one's private. Leftovers from the World's Fair. Name one of those buildings. One's public, one's private. And there's an area that's a leftover from the World's Fair. Name any of those things, leftovers from the 1984 World's Fair here in New Orleans, 40 years ago this week it opened up. And I've got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. 766-9480. What was Dave on the Causeway talking about? What I was talking about. Louisiana getting exactly what it deserves. The needs of the few outweighing the needs of the many. The $2.9 billion Mid-Barataria sediment diversion project is indefinitely on hold. Stop work order. Oystermen, fishermen, some Plaquemine Parish officials, a few hundred folks. And not the Plaquemine Parish officials, but the oystermen and the fishermen, they deserve to be compensated financially for this project coming in and invading, changing their livelihood. But we can't have some oyster fishermen and fishermen in Plaquemine Parish stopping a $3 billion project. And I'm for everything, therefore. Barrier Island restoration, swamp grass, marsh grass planting, cypress tree planting, restoring marsh, huge, not diversion projects, which I'm for, huge dredging projects where you're piping the sediment, sometimes for miles, and spewing it, spraying it all over some wetland or marsh or an area you're trying to build up. I'm all for all of that. And I'm for diversions too. Every tool in the tool belt. Plus, this Mid-Barataria sediment diversion project, studied by fishermen, oystermen, scientists, a consensus of people coming up with this plan. It's a consensus. I shouldn't say a consensus of people, a group of people that all are in agreement. The only folks opposed, a small percentage against the diversions, and these oystermen and fishermen. Now, here's the biggest joke of it all. They say they're going to have the plan. Like, here's the plan that can solve the problem, our plan. And we still get to fish, still have the oysters and the fish. It's embarrassing. It's a joke. You have experts, a consensus, a major plan, using every tool in the tool belt, and you have these oystermen and fishermen in Plaquemine Parish, the needs of the few, a few hundred, stopping the project. And now you have our dopey governor who appoints a Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority chairman that knows very little about coastal protection and restoration, apparently. His quotes on the nearly $3 billion Mid-Barataria sediment diversion, we inherited this project almost like it's a problem. And then he acknowledges it is, in his opinion. It's a big mess. No, it's not a big mess at all. And then he goes on to say, I'm a former parish president. I can relate. Maybe the parish should have more say. No, they shouldn't. They should have some say, but this is much bigger than Plaquemine, New Orleans, or even the state of Louisiana. This is America's wetlands. It's America's coast that's fading away. Happens to be in Louisiana. No, I agree with Dave on the causeway. Short-sighted, needs of the few. These oyster fishermen, the fishermen, it's an embarrassment. They're stopping a $3 billion diversion because they're worried about today's oyster fishing and today's fisheries in an area that, as Dave on the causeway so eloquently stated, dolphin are way up north where they never were because it's brackish and saltwater that was fresh a generation ago, 2 generations ago, 3 generations ago. So the Gulf's coming in. This is pushing the Gulf back out. The salinity areas for prime oyster growing will exist. There's going to be a line of demarcation from fresh, brackish Gulf where the salinity level is key for oyster growing. Corey Johnson with you. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines. 766-9480. Hey, Blue Plate Mayonnaise. That's as New Orleans as it gets. Spread the love. New look, same legendary taste, new label. Same Blue Plate Mayonnaise you love inside that jar or squeeze bottle. If you're a New Orleanian, native or official, it's got to be Blue Plate Mayonnaise, New Orleans mayonnaise.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Rouse's Markets means convenience. Every one of our 65 locations opens at 7 a.m., some at 6:30, and they're open until 10 p.m., with some staying open till 11 or even midnight. Convenience. Rouse's Markets. Tastes like home.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet. Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. Go to AC.com, your cool spots. Go to AC.com, your cool spots.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Helm Paint and Decorating has invaded Baton Rouge. New Orleanians that know Helm Paint and Decorating. When you got to paint in New Orleans, 55 years. Helm Paint and Decorating, steering you in the right direction. 7 New Orleans locations, free delivery. Benjamin Moore high quality products. Hey, Baton Rouge, you experience the same thing. 4 Metro Baton Rouge locations. Highland Road, Perkins Road, Choctaw, Jones Creek. Free 2-hour delivery, high-quality Benjamin Moore products. The great paint store of New Orleans, Helm Paint and Decorating, for over half a century now in Baton Rouge. Yeah, you're right. Helm's pretty impressive. 7 locations in New Orleans, 4 in Baton Rouge, 15 in Metro Dallas. 15 in the Metro Dallas area, not known as Helm, known as Texas Paint. Helm purchased an historic paint store in Dallas that was sort of fledgling the last generation or so. They had 4 locations. Now there are 15. It's the fastest growing paint store in the Metroplex. So with 11 New Orleans Baton Rouge locations and 15 in Dallas, 26 paint stores for New Orleans' Helm family. I love it. I love that the fastest growing paint store with 15 locations in the Dallas Metroplex doing tens of millions of dollars in business is a New Orleans-owned company. Branching out. Pretty cool. Pretty nice day. Not cool, but comfortable. Low humidity. 40% humidity right now. Tonight's going to be nice. I can't wait till the sun goes down around 8 o'clock. That breeze will pick up for a few minutes coming in from the north. Lower humidity. It's going to feel nice. I might drop some coals tonight. Head to the Rouses. Do a little grilling. Enjoy this weather, because next week we walk in the oven. I'm just telling you. I'm just the messenger. I'm not a meteorologist. I'm just checking weather.com and the like. 90 plus degrees like all week. Feels like 100 all week next week. Summer hits us hard next week. So today, sort of a rinse and repeat of today, tomorrow, very similar. Lower humidity, bearable. Enjoy it while you can. I am. This morning was nice. I was outside this morning. I was sweating a little bit, but not bad. It was nice outside. Our Humane May fundraiser continues. We're doing so poorly on this year. I don't know why. We've raised about $1,500 in 2 weeks. We're halfway done with the month. We've got about 2 weeks to go, and we've got to raise $8,500. We should be at like $5,000 right now. We're at $1,500. Please help us. And it's not me. Help us, the event, the fundraiser, because like 96, 97% of every dollar goes to cats and dogs, kittens and puppies, goats and horses, saving animals. HumaneLA.org is the website to donate. HumaneLA.org. You go to the top of the page, left-hand side, you'll see me laying on the sofa with Blue Boy. Tolly, my Australian Shepherd's in the post, in the photo. Sparky, my black cat in the photo. Click on that and donate. And please be generous. You're saving cats and dogs, something we suck at in Louisiana. HumaneLA.org. HumaneLA.org. Louisiana gets what it deserves. Already spent $420 million. Already have spent $420 million. Like the amount of money we've invested in the Superdome the last few years in anticipation for the Super Bowl. It's a nearly $3 billion project. It's the $2.9 billion Mid-Barataria sediment diversion project. And a handful of oystermen, fishermen, and some Plaquemine Parish officials have stopped this project, have stopped a nearly $3 billion project that clearly benefits Louisiana today, tomorrow, and definitely in the future. It benefits Plaquemine Parish. I mean, Plaquemine Parish probably has 300, 400 square miles of usable land, maybe. This would create like 20 plus square miles minimum. Probably a lot more. But a handful of oystermen and fishermen and some Plaquemine Parish officials are worried about their livelihood today. Instead of part of this project being compensation for them, not bribing them or paying them off, compensation for their livelihood. Oyster fishermen and fishermen, it's a major change. You're going to make Barataria Bay fresh again, like it used to be when the oyster fishermen and fishermen were kids. And they had to go farther out to do their oyster fishing. The dolphins shouldn't even be in Barataria Bay. It should be fresh. Or not brackish enough where dolphin can live, but dolphin are there. Now, we need to save our coast. We need to use every single tool in the tool belt, rebuild barrier islands, rebuild marsh, do major dredging, pipeline for miles, spewing that dredge material all over to rebuild, and diversions too. Every tool possible. Make the Mississippi do what it used to do. Spewing all that wonderful sediment all over St. Bernard, Plaquemine Parish, South Louisiana, building a delta, not the opposite, losing one. Governor Jeff Landry names Greater New Orleans Inc. President Michael Hecht to head up efforts to prepare for Super Bowl 59, just in time. Thank goodness. Hey, the 1984 World's Fair opened this week 40 years ago. There's a couple of buildings, one public, one privately owned, that are part of the World's Fair. Name one of them. I've got $50 for you at the Woodhouse Day Spa. There's also an area that's like a, quote, leftover from the World's Fair. Name it, and I've got 50 big bucks for you. Good at the Woodhouse. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. 766-9480. The Saints release their schedule. I'll fill you in on some of those highlights when we return. Hey, why aren't you at Katie's right now? I went and had lunch today with Scott Craig from Katie's. More is better. More of the good things. A taste of New Orleans. New Orleans specialties, old school, and it really is the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant, as New Orleans as it gets. Why aren't you at Katie's right now?
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Hey, Lebanon's Cafe, open till 9:30. Tonight, you could do the outdoor dining gimmick, especially after the sun sets. Humidity's low. It's going to be nice, like 8 p.m., under the green awning, under the oak trees on the streetcar line, eating some shish kebab or lamb chops with all your favorite Middle Eastern sides tonight at Lebanon's Cafe. It's one of the last nights I think you can get some outdoor dining in. Lebanon's Cafe, Carrollton at Jeanette, right by the streetcar barn. Humane May fundraiser continues. Please donate. HumaneLA.org is the website. HumaneLA.org. Saints schedule release September 8th. They open up in the Dome against Carolina. They play the Chiefs and Pat Mahomes. Jaden Daniels and DC coming to the Dome. The Broncos and Sean Payton Thursday night in the Dome. Wow. What's that, Blue Boy? You're going to be booing Sean Payton when he comes, not cheering his return. Interesting. What else? Thank the corporal for running the controls, and thank everyone for watching and listening. We'll be back tomorrow, straight up 4 o'clock, Thursday. Thanks, everyone. And Blue Boy, thank you for keeping the show online.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.